When I was 17 years old, I got my first job behind a bar, okay? It was literally my first ever job. It was like a part-time job. It wasn't full-time at all. I was still in school and stuff. So I just got this little tiny job behind a bar, okay? Serving drinks, all that stuff, shit that you do. And there was one night in particular when I was working there. It was probably around a few months into when I was working there. It was a really, really busy night, okay? So there was like hundreds of people in this bar. Because it was kind of like a club, the place. Absolutely hundreds of people. So I'm like serving so many people at once, you know, you've not really got any time for a break. You know, very, very exhausting kind of thing for me at the time, especially when I was just obviously only a young kid. I was 17. It was my first job. First time I've ever had a taste of, you know, the the Matrix and just the real world in general. First time I ever really was exposed to it. So I'm there running around serving these drinks, okay? And I naturally was always a very like smiley, happy sort of kid. Even when I was 17 and even now, you know, I've always been quite an upbeat kind of guy. I've always been kind of happy all the time. Not a lot can really get me down. Yeah, I get pissed off at things, but like, who cares? I normally get over it. When I was a young kid, I was always naturally happy, all right? I didn't really have anything to be unhappy about. I never really just woke up in a shit mood or anything. My baseline mood was always kind of happiness, all right? So I'm walking around this bar, serving my drinks, and yeah, I'm in a pretty good mood. Yeah, it's pretty exhausting, it's pretty tiring, but I'm there, I'm smiling, I'm happy, okay? I'm just chilled. Everyone else, you know, all the other bar staff were kind of like, you could tell they were a little bit stressed. They were all rushing around, like, telling each other off, like, oh, come on, what are you doing? Like, you got to do this quicker and stuff. And, yeah, I was kind of just doing my own thing, you know? So, because when you're behind the bar in that job anyway, you've got a set amount of staff on the bar, and you kind of just you do your own thing. You don't have to necessarily, like, talk to each other, you know what I mean? So I was just secluding myself a little bit, doing my own thing. And then about, say, give it 3 hours into the night, some guy comes up to the bar, and he orders his drinks and stuff, and I remember at the end of the order, okay, he said, "Nice to meet you, mate. My name's," whatever it was, I can't remember. I think it was like Mark or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, let's just, for the sake of the story, let's say his name's Mark. He was like, "Nice to meet you, mate. My name's Mark." Shook my hand. Said, "Nice to meet you, mate. My name's Sam." And he was like, "Can I buy you a drink?" So in that tip, basically he wanted to tip me, okay? "Can I give you a tip?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, you know, thank you, mate, cheers." He was like, "You know, you're the only member of staff that has walked around this bar with a smile on his face." And I remember just thinking at the time, like, that very, like, simple thing that I was doing, that I don't even think about, just naturally who I am, you know, I'm naturally just a happy person. So I was walking around the bar smiling, just, you know, being me. And that was enough for someone to give me their hard-earned money. Now, obviously, like a tip, it's not like a huge amount, but it was something, you know. He felt the need, or he wanted to reward me for that, for simply bringing across that energy. Because, and you know, he didn't tip any of the other staff, it was only me. And I said, "Thank you, Mark," said his name. And it kind of just brought a smile to his face. So it was like, I'd walked around the bar smiling, enjoying myself, you know, serving with that kind of energy, all right? Because the thing is, energy is everything, and it can be transferred to other people. You can give your energy out to other people, and it can have an effect on other people. So me walking around, you know, kind of smiling, enjoying myself, just having fun, you know, that energy was actually transmuted over to him, and he kind of felt that. He was, "Oh, fucking hell, what is that? Ugh. There's a fucking weird ass bug on me, bro. What the fuck?" Make sure that bastard doesn't come back. But yeah, the energy that I was giving off that night was having a positive effect on this guy, okay, and probably on many other people as well, okay, because the thing is, people want to be around that energy. People want to reward that energy. He felt the need to reward that energy that I was giving off, okay, because it was making him feel good about it. You know, it was making him feel good. It was making him feel happy. If everyone else was kind of just like walking around like miserable, like, you know, like, it's not like that kind of energy. People don't want to be around, and people don't necessarily want to reward, okay. So I was rewarded for the energy I was giving off. I was smiling, okay. I was happy. I was in a good mood. It's fucking raining, man. Jesus Christ. If this gets heavy, I'm gonna have to wrap this one up quick. But yeah, it's just, you know, and then I also said, "Thank you, Mark." And then when I said his name, you know, he kind of like, that also brought his mood up a little bit, because it kind of shows that he's, you know, it kind of makes him feel special, like he's listened to, like, you know, I actually care. People love to be around people who actually care and actually give a shit. Most people, I'm not being funny, but a lot of people are just waiting for their turn to talk, okay? They're not really listening, all right? That is the case with a lot of people. And if you actually pay attention to someone, as you're talking to someone, just notice this. The way that they're, kind of their body language, their demeanor, are they looking at you, okay? Are they actually listening? Are they doing that thing where they're kind of just going, yeah? Promise you, right? If you're in a conversation with someone and the person is just going, yeah, as you're talking, they are not listening. They are fucking not listening at all, bro. Because at the end of the day, bro, if you're listening to someone, you ain't speaking. You're just there, you're looking at them and you're listening to what they have to say. Then, when they're finished, you respond to what they have to say. Now, I'm not trying to come on and be like, oh, this is how to have a conversation. But a lot of people don't know how to have a conversation because most people don't want to listen to other people. Most people don't know how to listen. And that's why they're so shit at life and why they don't really get anywhere, because people don't want to be around them. People don't want to be around people who don't get listened, who don't listen. People don't want to be around people who don't give off good energy. If you give off good energy, and by good energy, you don't have to do anything spectacular. Like, take for example, on that night, I was walking out and I was walking around and I was just smiling. Simply, I was just smiling. I was in a good mood, and that had an effect on this guy. This guy, this guy felt something, some weird like transmuted energy towards him, where he felt the need to reward me. I'm not trying to get all like spiritual and shit and be like, people are gonna take the piss and go, oh, what are you talking about, energy? But like, I'm trying to make it as like. I'm trying to bring this across in like a most practical way as possible, rather than getting all like weird and spiritual and like energy. But energy is like a thing, and it is everything. That is what makes the world go round. That's what we function off of. Okay. The point is, okay, people want to be around positive people. Right? People want to be around people who just make them feel better, and it can make such a drastic change in your life. Because if you are someone who just simply walks around with a smile on his face, all right, that gives off energy, and people want to be around that. And that will not only, help you in, just in the workplace. It will help you in, with your social life. The friends you make, the relationships you have, your dating life. Okay, it helps you in so many aspects. Because at the end of the day, bro, your success, a lot of the time relies on having other people in your life. In a sense of your relationships, your friends, clients for your business, getting a job. You've got to be able to interact with people, okay? Because that's how you get opportunities in the world. You can't really just ever do anything purely by yourself, all right? You either need clients to work with or whatever, all right? So if you have this energy about you, and it can be you can bring it across in such a subtle way, such as smiling, all right? Saying the name of people who you meet. If you go to a restaurant and you ask the waiter's name, okay, and then you say his name or her name, okay, every time they bring you something, a drink, whatever, they are more likely going to treat you well, and they're more likely going to prioritize you as a customer, okay, because it's very, very rare that you'll actually have people just in in your day-to-day life who treat strangers in this way. Not many strangers that you meet, or many people treat each other in that way, where they have what's the word? Almost the respect and just the respect to kind of have this level of detail, like asking someone's name or just smiling, simply giving across a good energy, being polite to the person. Most people treat other people like they're a piece of shit and they don't matter. Most people treat other people like they're not even alive, like they're a robot or something. All right. So if you can be that person who gives off that kind of energy, who's smiling, who's asking, people's names, you're calling people by their names, you're listening to them when they're talking, you're giving them eye contact, you're showing them respect. People are going to want to be around that energy, and your life's going to be so much better as a result. That's a very basic kind of social skills trick you can just have there. It's just by giving off that sort of energy. When you're in the nightclub and you're giving off that positive energy, rather than being sat in the corner, just vaping and tensing your jawline, the girls are going to want to come over you, okay? Want to come over to you, because you're giving off that energy that they want to be around, and it puts them in a good mood, and it makes the rest of their night better, okay? You actually have a positive effect on other people just by being this way, just by being who you are. So be a positive, happy guy, all right? We've all got our shit that we're going through, we've all got stuff that makes us unhappy, we've all got stuff that makes us sad, pissed off. I understand that, and 100%, I'm not saying you have to be happy all of the time. Sometimes you're going to be a bit sad, sometimes you're going to be a bit pissed off, sometimes you're going to be in work mode and you don't really want to talk to people, sometimes you're not going to be in the mood. I understand, bro, but if you can, 80-90% of the time just be that positive guy, and I'm not saying pretend to be that positive guy, just be that positive guy, be that person that is happy all the time. Do things that make you happy. Live your life in a way that makes you happy and makes you want to bring this energy across to other people, that makes you want to, kind of give to others, rather than just, not giving a shit and just like being rude to people, not listening to people, not calling people by their names. So, that sort of thing. People don't want to be around those kinds of people, and that's how you end up lonely, all right? You want to be a positive guy to be around. Other people want to be around you. You'll get more friends. Your dating life will improve. You'll get more opportunities in life in general, such as jobs, business, your career, everything. It's such a positive thing. And that one simple thing that I went through, of walking around with a smile on my face, and this guy wanting to give me a tip because of that, just kind of made me realize that that's actually, it's a very, very good thing. That made me learn very quickly, this is the way I should be, okay? I should be a happy, positive guy, because energy is transmutable onto other people. It made me think, and I only actually thought about this recently yesterday. I remember, just thinking about that particular event, and I thought, I might as well come and tell you boys this and talk to you about it, and actually let you know, so you can kind of apply a similar thing into your life and be aware that this kind of stuff does happen, and this kind of stuff, the energy that you give off has an effect on other people, okay? Whether it's positive or negative. So make sure you be that guy that transmutes the right type of energy, okay? It's gonna have a positive effect on the world. All right, boys, that's just a quick lesson. It's fucking raining. I'm about to put my cap on because under here is just not cooperating. But yeah, boys, hope you have a good day. Hope you get 1% better. Hope you achieve something. And yeah, I'll see you in a bit.